Hey bud, how you doing? Welcome to Herp Corner. Here we are in the balls of Europe, Finland, specifically in the Viikalahti Nature Reserve. Here we'll be talking about the smooth newt. I love these guys. They're actually the first newt we've covered, which, these dudes are just awesome, so I don't mind at all. Smooth newts are also known as the European newt, the common newt, northern common newt, and Lissotriton vulgaris. Now, anyone I talk to about this species, their first question is always something along the lines of, where do they get their names? They likely get their namesake from the state of their skin when they go into the water for breeding. When they swim around, their skin becomes smooth and soft. Above water, it's velvety and dry. Additionally, once males reach sexual maturity, they develop this cool crest on their back and higher contrast colors. This look kind of reminds me of an alpine newt, but that might just be because alpine newts are a little generic looking. No offense to them, they're still cool, there's just a bunch of lookalikes, I suppose. A lot of people often confuse newts for salamanders, which, I mean, I get it, they're both long, shiny, and have dumpy little arms. Differences are generally pretty scarce, actually, most notably that newts are more sexually dimorphic than other salamanders. But generally, here's a good little thing for you to remember. All newts are salamanders, but not all salamanders are newts. Get it? You get it. These guys were discovered in 1785 by the great Carl Linnaeus. And I say great, not because it's in his name, but because I love this guy. Fun fact, he's often dubbed the father of modern taxonomy, because of just how much he's contributed to biology as a whole. He's named a little more than 12,000 species of plants and animals. Oh my god, let me read you a part of his wiki page. It's so funny. Linnaeus's remains constitute the type specimen for the species Homo sapiens following the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, since the sole specimen that he is known to have examined was himself. Yep, that's what should be called a Homo sapien, I think. Chances are, if you've spent any time in Europe, you've seen these guys before. They're extremely common, extremely common. Not that there's anything wrong with that, of course. They're native to a bunch of land in Europe, including the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Greece, Russia, the Ukraine, and the Holy Trinity, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. By the way, if you were confused with my comment on Finland being the balls of Europe, am I even allowed to elaborate? Okay, if you've got problems, like me, with remembering, geography stuff, listen up. This is how I remember it. Finland is the balls, Norway is the slug, and Sweden is the, well, what does that look like to you? Listen, any Swedes? I love you, okay? Your gavel goats are awesome, alright? Just take my word for it. Smooth newts are huge fans of basically every kind of terrain you can find in Europe. They're super hardy. You'd be able to find these fellows basically anywhere, from dry forests to humid wetlands. If any Europes out there are ever wanting to find one of these poopers, kindly look under any rock or log, and there's a high chance you'll see at least one. Also, here's a fun fact. Females of this species, and possibly males too, I'm not sure, will often take advantage of the surface tension on the water to soak in the sun's UVB rays, and float, basically. Pretty neat, though I don't think it's necessarily unique to this species. Sorry, guys. Care for the smooth newt is pretty simple. Honestly, I think they're a pretty good beginner species as a whole, not too demanding, and very forgiving of any mistakes you make along the way. Let's start with feeding. It's pretty easy. It goes about how you'd expect. Feeding should take place at minimum twice a week. They enjoy basically any invertebrate they can fit in their mouths, most commonly small hornworms and crickets. In the wild, they mostly feed on water fleas, so if you know any water flea breeders, feel free to hit them up. Chances are their business could use some help anyway. As is customary, don't forget to dust with that sweet, sweet repticalcium. Figuratively sweet, of course. I don't have the slightest clue on what it actually tastes like. Perhaps I should get on that. But that's beside the point. Since newts are obviously amphibians, a water bowl of dechlorinated water should always be present. I personally use the REPTI Instant Terrarium Water Conditioner. Check it out. Great stuff. The reason why their water needs to be dechlorinated, if you're not already aware, is due to the fact that amphibians possess very sensitive skin. They breathe through it, in fact. So imagine how it would go down if a newt that breathes through his skin sits in a tub of chlorine-filled water. Additionally, the levels of chlorine and lead and all that fun stuff in tap water is adjusted to human sensibilities, not that of reptiles, amphibians, or the like. Since smooth newts measure at around 4 inches, or 10 centimeters, a decent enclosure size would be a 50-gallon. However, attention, this is the important part. Don't just use any old baby Exoterra for babies. This might be a little controversial within the newt fandom, if that's a thing, but I think the best type of enclosure you can have for these guys would be a partially aquatic paludarium. Emphasis on partially. Remember, they're mostly terrestrial, therein they prefer land for the most part. Since partially aquatic enclosures are pretty hard to maintain, cycling and all, that makes them a little harder than average for the smooth newt's husbandry, but you're smart. You can figure it out. I can tell just by looking at you. But here's the kicker. Some keepers of this species recommend only keeping them in a partially aquatic enclosure for the spring specifically, and keep them in mostly terrestrial enclosures for the rest of the year, though other keepers share countering ideas. As for what you should do, that all depends on your own taste in husbandry, and what you think is best for the animal, within the confines of your budget, of course. Since they're amphibians, relaxed handling should be done in moderation, if at all. It's a bit of a controversial topic on whether handling amphibians at all is okay. I personally believe that just so long as the necessary precautions are taken, handling for short periods of time is alright. Such precautions include washing your hands thoroughly before and after, obviously, and maybe even wearing gloves if you feel so inclined, among other things. As usual, I definitely I would not encourage this, collecting them from the wild, as there are some fellas who sell captive-bred smooth newts. John Underground Reptiles, for instance. However, I wouldn't go and be mean to anyone who keeps a wild-caught specimen. I mean, don't do it if you can help it, and let's be real, you can help it. Yeah, they're not terribly endangered, but as much as I'm not a fan of slippery slopes, their population could take a turn for the worst if everyone just went out and caught a newt of their own. But, again, wouldn't guilt anyone if that already happened. Just don't do it. Also, there looks to be a large debate within the European reptile community, or I guess amphibian community, on what the legality of owning wild-caught smooth newts is. As I'm currently recording this, it is illegal to catch, possess, and/or trade the smooth newt in Northern Ireland and the UK, as stated by amphibian and reptileconservation.org. I've heard countering things from various different keepers. Who should I trust? I don't know. But I'm gonna trust amphibian and reptileconservation.org because they seem a little bit more official than a guy walking around in the woods. No offense to him, but he knows who he is. As for all other European countries, not sure. If you live in Europe and are interested in keeping them, some DuckDuckGo searches are in order. The babies often measure at around 1 centimeter, yes, I said centimeter, and feed on mostly algae and bacteria off the skin of plants and rocks underwater. If you're looking to breed this species, which is quite the feat considering they have a larval stage, it'd be a good idea to try your best to emulate this in captivity. God knows what a good alternative would be for underwater algae. Marimo mossballs, perhaps? I don't know. This isn't a commonly bred species, so little experimentation has been done on this front. If you're thinking about attempting this, testing out any hypothesis would be incredibly helpful. Now, before we wrap up, here's 2 truths and a lie about this species. Let's see if you were paying attention. A. The smooth newt is primarily found in European wetlands. B. The smooth newt is a good beginner animal. And C. The smooth newt is around 10 centimeters. Which one was the lie? Feel free to comment below. And you better not cheat by waiting for me to tell you at the very end. Alright, final thoughts. Overall, pretty cool species. They've got a funny name, smooth newt. Definitely a good gateway into paludariums if you're looking for that kind of animal, and they seem very personable to me. 10 out of 10. Alright, but that's going to be all for this installment of Herp Corner. As always, sources will be in the description. If you're interested in this topic, I'd recommend looking further into their husbandry or history. If you like what I do and know a specific reptile or amphibian you'd like to see me cover, put it in the comments. Chances are, if you've made it to the end, you're probably like me, hyperfixating like crazy on reptiles. Well, if that's the case, then this is the perfect channel for you. Feel free to subscribe, since I do these every other week. Like the video to support the channel. Have a good evening, morning, or afternoon. Thank you for listening, watching, whatever, and I'll see you next time. By the way, the lie was answer A. Although they are native to wetlands in Europe, it's hardly the only locality they're found in. A big talking point was just how diverse the stretches of land they're found on are. Okay, see you next time.